MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. Here's Darren Sutton.
This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. My name is Darren Sutton. We're glad you're watching. If you're watching on Perfect Game TV, we're glad you're listening. If you're listening every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern on MLB Network Radio, we love this show. We're so glad you're here with us. If you're new to the show, here's what we do. Each and every week, we really focus on the future of the game. Most of the guests on this show are some of the best high school players in the country. Now, we'll branch out and have coaches. We'll branch out and have college players. But the real focus of this show is the future of the game. And in this case, let's say at the 21, at the 22 level, and stories going on, unique approaches for athletes, different things that are going on around the globe as it pertains to baseball, prospects, and amateur baseball. So this week's show, let's start with where we're going. We have a couple of big subjects we're going to talk about. Robert Evans and Miles Allen Blackwell will represent the Dream Series, Martin Luther King weekend, put together by Major League Baseball this year virtually, alongside Danny Wexelman, who's one of our co-hosts with PG.TV, had a chance to go to this event in person, and the goal of the event is simple. Raise the platform of the game as it pertains to African-American pitchers and catchers. Both Evans and Blackwell took part this year. Look at Blackwell going to Columbia, my goodness. And then the other focus of this show is the World Showcase. Athletes that showed out in Fort Myers, Florida, like Oklahoma commit Jackson Nicklaus, like Duke commit Jonathan Santucci. Those are our guests. Excited. We may throw in a few surprises at the end as well. My name is Darren Sutton. Glad to have you with us for the next couple of hours on MLB Network Radio and on Perfect Game TV. This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. Glad to have you with us. This is MLB Round Trip with Perfect Game.
This is the most important part of my game. It's like your girlfriend. Like, you take care of it. You have the Gold Glove, and then you have Platinum. Platinum is the top defender of the league that year. It stands out, so you know that's my baby. When I'm hitting, I'm by myself. When I'm making defensive plays, I'm helping my pitcher. You can't go and slump me on defense.
Excited about this next guest because this is someone that has had a very unique journey as far as baseball is concerned. His name is Robert Evans. He's from the Bronx, but he's down in South Carolina at P27 Academy. He's a North Carolina State commit. You see his favorite team. You see his favorite player. This is a gifted left-handed pitcher. No surprise that he thinks a lot of CC Sabathia, and Robert spends time with us now. Hello, my friend. I appreciate, Robert, you taking time with us to hang out and to talk baseball. I want to get into everything that's going on with you because we've seen you at a lot of different events, but I'm making a mistake if I don't start with the Dream Series. A unique Dream Series, to say the least, this year because of the pandemic. Definitely. You had to do it virtually. But I'd love to know from your perspective what it was like, and I'll dive deeper on it, but just talk to me about this year's 2021 Dream Series and the impact it had on you.
It was pretty tough, being away from all my guys and all the coaches at Dream. But, I think they handled it very well. Kendu, Dell, Tony, they all handled it as professionally as possible. And then, the guys they had on top, CC, Stroman, really good dudes that everybody liked. So I was very happy that I got to go. And it was pretty late that I went, actually, because I wasn't going to go at first because I was busy with school. Right. But I heard who was going, and I knew I needed to be there to get the information. So I quickly hopped into Kendu, and I was at Kendu. Let me get in. Boom, I got in, and it was a very good event, 10 out of 10. So I'm very happy I went.
Where are we in the evolution of making sure that the major leagues looks more like society, making sure that the percentages are reminiscent of society, and also more players going to college of color? Where are we in that evolution from your mind? You certainly are entitled to speak on it.
I think we're getting there, but we're not where we want to be. I think we have a long way to go. But the guys that are empowering MLB in college, they're doing a great job. Pushing the BLM movements, pushing stuff like get out to vote, stuff like that. It's a really good thing. I love to see it as a young team, and I believe that if we keep pushing in the next 4 or 5 years, we all can be, it can be a pretty equal sport. I don't want it to be, dominant just African Americans. No, I want it to be where we're all equal, playing the same sport, doing what we love, and having fun with it, which is really the biggest part of it all.
Robert Evans is joining us. He is from the Bronx in New York and is at P27 Academy in South Carolina. Hey, what was that like, the transition as a young man of leaving home? Home matters to you. What was that like?
It was pretty rough at first, I'm not going to lie. Being homesick, I was always with mom and dad, my brother, my 4 sisters. We were always a close-knit family, always together like this. And me coming down here was pretty rough because I moved away from everything, friends, family. And I felt like I was on my own, but then I met guys like, my roommates, Roman Kimball, TJ Wachter, Rob Menino. They were great guys to me, brought me in as a family. And Corey Warner, the head coach of P27, I love him. It just made it real easy on me because, it makes it seem like wherever you go, you're going to have a family. And I always strongly believe in that. So being from New York, coming down down south, it wasn't easy at first, but the team and my environment made it real easy for me.
So 2020 was a funny year. Not funny, ha-ha, but just as unique as anyone ever has experienced. Amongst all the challenges, how did you get better? Amongst all the challenges, where did you improve the most? In other words, what was your silver lining and what was a wild year?
My silver lining definitely was getting down P27. It was what I needed. I needed a fresh restart on life, really. Because 2020 took a toll on my mental. When I had gotten that PDP invite, it was a high for me. And then to hear that it was canceled, it killed me. So, being able to come down P27, get a restart, reclass to the 22 class, it helped so much because I realized that, hey, as one door closes, another one opens up. And I was ready to go ever since I got to P27. And I've been up ever since. My morale's been up, energy's been up, and I'm just real happy to be down here. So my silver lining would definitely be coming down here. I eventually committed to North Carolina State University, which is a really, really good school for me. I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah. Why? I mean, why did Elliot Avent and his staff earn your commitment? Why did you always want to go there? And take away any obvious answers that I might think of. Dive deep. Be personal. Why did you choose them?
Really, because North Carolina I always wanted to play down south. That's a thing that a lot of baseball players want. But also, Coach Avent was the dude where his energy is what I needed. He's always the one that's fired up, ready to go. Boom. You're going to play here, and you're going to get at it. And I've always wanted that because I know that's myself as a player. And playing for guys like Jay Manuel kind of influenced that also because they're kind of the same dudes. They want you to go at it and attack as soon as you get on that baseball field. So picking state was pretty easy for me, along with the group of guys that they already have there. It was pretty easy, and I'm really excited to get down there in the next 2 years.
All right, let's walk on the mound together. This is Robert Evans. We're going to virtually walk on the mound, certainly unless you're watching on Perfect Game TV, but still we're not out on the mound. But let's you and I be creative, and I'm walking out on the mound with you. I'm an old minor league pitcher. Didn't do what guys like LaTroy Hawkins did, but tried and understand your sport certainly as a pitcher. What are some of the keys to you mechanically? Where have you evolved as a pitcher? And the final part of that is take your pitches one by one and introduce them to me as if they were human. Your fastball, your breaking ball, humanize them. So let's talk pitching. Go.
My fastball he's going to get at you. He's going to come at you, and you got to be ready for it. I've always said that. It moves a lot. So you got to have the hands ready, and you always got to have good eyes on it. And then, it's going to get on you. He's going to get on your hands sometimes. He's going to get away from you sometimes. So you never know. It always keeps you on your toes. And then I'm mixing that changeup really well. Changeup, it'll throw you off a lot because it'll switch up speeds easily on you. And you got to be ready for that also. And that's my best pitch. I love that pitch to the death of me, really. I'm not going to lie. It's a pitch that I go to and whenever I need help. My curveball, it's developing. Not going to lie. It needs some work. But I've always thought it was good enough. It was good enough for this level, but it's not going to be good enough later on. So I'm always working on it. But it's also going to be there. It's going to get there, and it's going to break on you. So I've always said, if you're going to hit against me, have your hands ready, have your eyes ready, because it's not an easy at bat. I make sure it's never an easy at bat for anybody. I'm always the type of guy on the mound where my mental is go at you, and if you get a hit, tip the cap. But if you don't get a hit, just let you know I'm going to watch you down that dugout and let you know what I did to you, because I just feel like confidence is key.
So there's 3 things I want to go into based upon your answer, and I love everything you said. Going glove side against a right-handed hitter, I was a right-handed pitcher, so it'd be going against a lefty, was always something I struggled with, even up into pro ball. How comfortable are you going effectively in on a right-handed hitter?
I'm comfortable with everything. I love going in on right-handed hitters because they never expect it. They think the lefty's going to work away. They always think I'm going to work away, paint the corners. And I'm like, dude, I'll pound it down the middle one pitch, and then the next pitch, it'll be in on your hand, so you got to be ready for it. So I've always felt like I'm always good at mixing locations up and everything.
So the second part of your answer that I'm intrigued by is your changeup. I mean, tell me everything about it. The grip, things that have to happen with your body when you throw it. Tell me everything about your changeup. If you love it that much, I'd love to know about it.
My changeup's a special pitch. You know, I developed it since the age of 10 with my dad. We used to go to the field, work on it. So me, to keep it where it's been at my whole life has always worked. You know, I keep it in a three-finger grip where it's coming off like that, where it's flicking off my wrist, basically. So when I throw it, my aim is to get it down and away, or if it's coming in, I just want it to go straight down. I never want it to hang because I know the consequences of that. So I've always worked on location with my changeup. It's a big pitch, especially in the next level. So I really think the changeup is a pitch that anybody needs to learn, really. If you perfect the movement of it, the location of it, you'll be a great pitcher at any level.
Hey, Bobby, I'm jealous of you, man. I mean, I could never do it. I had a split-fingered fastball. I couldn't do it. I'm envious, and it's a pitch I always wanted to know how to throw. Couldn't do it. So, hey, man, kudos for you. The last thing I want to ask you about of that last answer is your breaking ball. Let's break that open. I mean, if it's a work in progress, how do you throw it? What are some things you're doing to evolve it? Let's talk breaking ball.
Curveball it's an okay pitch. You know, it works and breaks what I want it to do sometimes, and sometimes it can be far off. But I keep a 2-finger grip. The seams will be right here. My hands are right on that seam, and I want to break it off as soon as I get to about this point of my arm. So when I throw it, it's always the aim to, you know, hit the left side of my catcher's leg and break it off from there. So it's a hard pitch to perfect, I'm not going to lie, because the breaking is not easy. You never know what's going to happen. But I've worked really hard at it with my pitching coach, Story Bridges, and I really feel like in the spring it's going to be dominant. And in the summer circuit at PG events, it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, it's a big summer for you. You're a 2022 grad, and to get that early invite that you got last year to PDP as a year younger was huge for you, certainly. Great conversation with Robert Evans, a talented left-handed pitcher out of the Bronx in New York. He's a North Carolina State commit. We started talking about the Dream Series, which is an epic event to be a part of, the Breakthrough Series. Now we're getting into a little bit about pitching. Your dad, James, you gave him credit for some of your evolution. Now I'd like for you to give him credit beyond your baseball. Who is he as a man, and how has he impacted you?
My dad is a great dude. You know, I've never met a dad that's as confident as his sons and his kids in general as my dad. You know, he's a great dude. I love him to death. I'd never trade him for anything in the world. He's always pushed me. You know, me and my brother being 20 years old, he's always pushed me. He said, hey, you can be better than your brother, and I've always let it be known that I'm going to be better than my brother. And my dad's always been that one drive behind me, like, hey, go out and get him, you know. We used to go live ABs against my brother. You go and get him. And I'd never be scared because my dad always had that confidence in me. That's where I get my mentality from, really, my dad. So he's a great dude. He's a great person. He's an even more lovable person because, you know, he's easy to talk to, easy to listen. So I just love him to death. And, you know, him and my mom and dad have done a great job of raising me and my family. So that's nothing but kudos to those two.
Yeah, and at a younger age, you saw something that none of us want to see with our friends, with ourselves, and certainly with our parents. Your mom, Leisha, has had to battle cancer. It's a winning battle for her, but from your eyes and from your memories, I'd love your perspective on what had to be very tough as a son.
Yeah, you know, watch my mom go through breast cancer. It was pretty tough because I was a young kid in freshman year of high school. It just hit me rough. But, you know, she battled through it, and I love her to death for it. You know, not being able to help her because I was so young, I really didn't know what to do. I was just being able to be a good son, you know, when she actually do something, to do it as quick as possible because you never know. With cancer, I was so stuck on you never know what's going to happen. You know, I'm always ready for the unexpected. And then, boom, she became healthy about 2-3 years ago. And I'm so happy because my mom, she's watching baseball games, telling me about my pitching mechanics, which is crazy because it's my mom. So I'm happy that she's healthy. She's been doing really good lately, and I miss her a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I miss her a lot.
Yeah, I can understand that, and there's nothing wrong with moms talking about pitching mechanics. They're in control of a lot of things in life, and they watch you a lot more closely than we think. I know my mom was the same. I was raised by a Hall of Fame dad pitcher, and who pitched at the highest level, and my mom still gave me darn good advice in baseball. So there's There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Great conversation with Robert Evans, understanding who he is as an athlete. I've enjoyed a lot of athletes this summer and conversation from where you're from. Now, you're in South Carolina now. But if you're going to describe New York baseball to me, urban baseball, city baseball, the characteristics of the athlete that plays in New York, whether it's someone who has to live in a high-rise in Manhattan and find a place to play or someone from the Bronx, describe city baseball, urban baseball to me.
It's gritty and it's tough. It's just two words that exactly describe it because, being from New York, but the fields we have are not the best. The facilities we have are not the best, but we always make sure you're getting out there and you're getting after it because you never know when it's going to be the last day you can do something. And I feel like every New York kid needs a chance because whatever college takes a New York kid in knowing they're going to get a great dude, a passionate dude, and a dude that's going to work his butt off every day. So New York baseball is not easy. And I feel like if you're not used to being chattered at on the field, back talk from different players, you're not going to be able to play in New York because New York is just that type of environment where you need to be a mentally tough person and plus a physically tough person because the weather we go through up there is just crazy. You got to be ready for anything.
After you play baseball for 15 years and you're longer and you chase my dad into the Hall of Fame and you do something like that, what do you want to do when you really have to grow up? What tweaks your mind? What do you want to do for a career?
I've had three things touch my mind, and it's crazy because me being young, I never thought about any of these stuff except for one, which was being a vet. I always loved animals. Love being around animals, so I'd always thought about being a veterinarian, and then it'd be a sports agent because I feel like the knowledge that I have now is just going to be even better when I get older. So for me to relate to younger kids would be great, especially inner city kids because they need it the most, I think, because their mentality sometimes will be thrown off by something that happens. And, being somebody who's went through some things with family, friends, it's tough, and I know that if I was older, when I get older, it's going to help a lot to a younger kid that needs it.
My friend, thank you for your insights. Have an amazing 2021 season. I hope you have a lot of action to play. I hope you have it's a huge summer for you. You've earned the right. Thanks for opening up and being transparent about Dream Series. I missed, too, being with you guys and being a part of it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Robert Evans joining us, a great conversation. He's at the P27 Academy in South Carolina, the man out of the Bronx in New York. This is MLB Round Trip with Perfect Game.
All right.
Right away if it's going to be a good glove or not. Broken in good, so when it breaks in nice, you want to use it for years. And I got the gold on it now. If you're into it mentally, you're getting your pre-pitch routine, defense doesn't slump. It doesn't come and go like offense. If you lock it in mentally, it's going to be there.
MLB Round Trip with Perfect Game. We welcome you back and continue our great conversation, really focusing on the Dream Series. And our next guest is Miles Blackwell, SoCal guy. And Junipero Serra, his school, he's a Columbia commit. I got to get all into that because the mind you have to go to Columbia, to play at Columbia, to combine all of it together. And this is a talented catcher. And as we said, involved in the Dream Series this past weekend. And Miles joins us now from some of the great parts of the world, Los Angeles, California. I'm a SoCal guy by trade. Miles, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you spending time on this show, and congratulations on reaching this point in your career. But a big part of it has been taking part in Breakthrough Series events. So I need to ask you about this past weekend, what it was like to be a part of the Dream Series. I shared with our guest earlier, just looking on the internet. And by the way, folks can go to MLB.com, and they can learn all about it, and they can watch the videos that you guys shared with and watch what was streamed out. But you had CC, you had Marcus Stroman, you had Touki Toussaint, Jay Hay, LaTroy Hawkins, Jerry Emanuel. I know there was a lot more. What was it like for you? You're a veteran of that event. It was virtual this year. Help everyone understand what it was like.
I would say Dream Series is the most vital to my improvement because pitchers and catchers have this bond that we feed information off of each other. So learning from guys like Mike Scioscia and then CC Sabathia, it's very unique because I have to learn both parts of this game. pitching and catching because I'm kind of the pitching coach on the field. So learning from them and just absorbing that information is really, really a special experience.
So you guys had to be creative, and I'm glad you answered that question that way, and your dad calls it the right way because obviously when you are incarcerated, you don't have many options. So if you want to get stronger, you're doing it in your cell. I get it. We're locked down. You're a California guy. There's very few freedoms in California right now as it pertains to this pandemic. So I'd love to know specifically some stuff you did. I mean, it's fine to say push-ups and sit-ups. Was it just that? Did you get creative with any other, dumbbells you had around the house? How did you get your home gym going besides the push-ups and sit-ups?
I'm not like an infielder, they require a lot of movement. I can work on my catching literally in a 4x4 feet square space. So I have to utilize that a lot, whether it's blocking or just moving left and right with my hips, seeing how the pro catchers do it online, a lot of online visualization as well.
Miles Blackwell is joining us. Going back to the Dream Series, Miles Blackwell, Southern California guy, by the way, he's a Columbia commit. Going back to the Dream Series and having Soch be there, what did you learn from Mike Socha specifically? Maybe you took something new with you this time.
Oh, wow. Going back this year or last year?
Yeah, well, let's make it a couple of years. I mean, Mike's been around for a couple of years. Daryl Miller comes out on occasion. I know you've worked with him. Charles Johnson has been a part of this as well. But, so from those guys at the highest level, and let's start with Mike, what are some nuggets that you have taken away where you're like, oh, my gosh, I can look at every video. I can listen to my friends and family. I've never heard that.
I would say, first time meeting Mike was Breakthrough Series a couple years back. And I would say I thought he was some special, elite catcher from day one. He's just like a 5-star athlete. But basically, he told me that catching is, you can oversimplify it or overcomplicate it. And in that medium is where great catchers are. There are a finesse to our game, but also keeping things simple is very, very important. And I never thought about it like that.
That's great. And for our listeners listening, I'm going to go very casual right now, but our listeners listening, certainly on MLB Network Radio, you didn't see what I just saw on Perfect Game TV. When Miles got comfortable in his seat, there was a Dunder Mifflin shirt that popped up on the screen. So you're a sitcom guy, kind of an older soul. So it's got to be partly The Office, but it's Seinfeld. I need to know your relationship with Seinfeld.
I would say Seinfeld is the greatest sitcom. That's my strong opinion. I'm not a Friends guy, maybe a Curb guy. I always thought you reminded me of Ted Danson a little bit, but the episode where Elaine got kicked out because she was wearing an Orioles hat was very funny. I like that episode. Or the one where George is teaching Derek Jeter how to hit. There's a special feature with Derek Jeter. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about that, Miles. They mix baseball in that show quite a bit. I mean, they really do. You're not going to see that on The Office as much. You'll see incredible writing. There's no doubt about it. And Jim goes to try and be a sports agent, and you do see Ryan Howard on the show, but you're not going to see as many baseball references. And I think you're right. It's because Seinfeld is a huge baseball fan. So Columbia's in New York. All of us know that. And you're committed to go to Columbia. Let's talk about the academic side first, because they're not opening the door for you unless you are a killer student. As far as work in the classroom, what stimulates your mind? What do you enjoy studying the most? And what do you hope to study at Columbia?
I'm hoping to become an engineer at Columbia. I really like mathematics. That's, it's very concise. It's very objective. Sometimes it's straightforward, but now it's getting a little harder. I'm taking some college classes, but it's very non-opinionated, which I really like about it. And I want to be an engineer and build things for the future.
Incredible. And the challenges you'll take on academically at Columbia are wild. And now about the baseball program. Is it Brett Beretti? Is that their head coach?
Yes, sir.
So tell me about Brett, and outside of the academics, it's got to be a fit there because you're going to spend, if you're not studying or you're not maybe getting a bite to eat, you're going to be with them, right? That's going to be the rest of your life, preparing to play Ivy League baseball. Tell me about Brett, the expectations with the program, and what drew you to that baseball program.
Well, when I was looking at colleges, one little tidbit that I always wanted to check off my list was like having a coach that used to be a catcher. Because, catchers make great managers, great coaches, and the way they think about the game. And Brett Moretti was a catcher back in his day. So I really thought that fact about him was really interesting. I always wanted to play under a catcher because we both think the same on the baseball field.
And you're excited to go to New York, aren't you?
I'm very excited. My dad's from there too. So I grew up going to New York.
Your dad grew up there. That's William Allen Blackwell, and grew up in New York. So Mets fan. Your dad's a Mets fan then? My
dad is actually a Yankees fan because technically he's closer to the Mets, but he's actually a Yankees fan.
But you're a Mets fan.
I'm in between. I'm more of a players guy. I think.
Okay. That's your generation, by the way. Your generation's like that. I mean, you guys really, some of you love teams, but a lot of you are players guys. Let's go back to Dad. Tell me a few things about him. If I had never met him, by the way, is he a Taekwondo black belt? Is that correct?
He is. I don't know how you know that, but
yeah. Well, look, this isn't my first rodeo, right? I mean, I have no other marketable skills, Miles. If I don't show up doing my homework, then, you could have any schmo in asking these questions. Beyond the fact that he's a good dad, beyond the fact that, he can wax the floor with a lot of people when they run into him, who is he as a man? What have you learned from your dad? Tell me a little bit about who he is as a man.
I would say I've learned the importance of passion and hard work. My dad works all day and gets very little sleep. I tell him to get more sleep, but he gets very little sleep. And then sometimes he sends me baseball emails, like hitting videos to watch at like 3 a.m. He's very passionate about me and my career and me becoming a better man than he is, which I've learned. I think it's very inspirational seeing how hardworking he is towards bettering my future. And like how passionate he is about baseball. He didn't even like baseball too much before I started playing. He's more of a basketball guy. He played basketball in college a little bit. So seeing him just show that love and passion for me in my career was very cool.
Quick, tell me about Mom then, because we can't talk about Dad without talking about his better half. Tell me about your mom, Janet.
That's true. I've been told I'm a mama's boy for sure. But
Go then.
My mom, she immigrated here when she was, I think, 12 from Korea. And she has probably taught me my personality and how I am very kind to others and generous and hardworking still, because immigrant life is tough. So I think she instilled in me how to be a very kind person to others.
So let's go into the batter's box. Remind me, you're a right-handed hitter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's step into the box together, and I'm maybe over in that dugout on the first base side, and I'm looking out at you. And I'm an old minor league pitcher, so you could be detailed. I'm looking out at you hit, and from your spikes to your helmet and everything in between with your hands and your hips, what are some of the moving parts of your swing? What am I going to see? What are the keys to your swing, keys to success?
I think the key to my swing is in my legs. Over this past quarantine, I've worked a lot in utilizing my legs because I have very big legs. For the most of my career, I would use my arms to hit for power. But as you get older, that type of hitting is not going to work out in the later. So I would say focusing on rotational, but also linear sometimes, but working on my hips, and that's where my power comes from, the ground to the legs to the hands. I would say in that order is how you would see my swing.
Good answer. Something else you did to me that is very challenging for a young person specifically. Heading into your freshman year, you decided, I'm going to change my shape. I'm going to change my size. I want to. I need to. And I can't imagine, let alone being older and changing your diet, but being younger, because you guys are active and you're hungry all the time. And gosh, I remember being your age and an athlete as well. But you managed to trim 30 pounds off your frame. How challenging was it, and how did you do it, and how rewarding was it?
And I would say I decided to do it because a lot of California baseball athletes, they just play travel ball all their life, not knowing what they want to do later on. But in ninth grade, I decided that baseball was my thing. And I was in love with it, and that I would commit 100% to the sport. So I had to lose weight to become the in-shape catcher, D1 person that I wanted to be later on. So I basically did it by running a lot and watching what I ate, typical. I would say the hardest thing was drinking a lot of water is also really important, but it turned out to be beneficial for me, of course, later on.
Yeah, it changed your habits probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. The other impact on you I want to ask you about, because our siblings help shape us too, especially if we have older siblings, and you shared the names Skaya and Cassidy with me, two of your older siblings. Tell me a little bit about the impact of your siblings. Obviously, Cassidy's a little closer in age. She's 22.
My sister and I would play catch all the time. She actually played softball in college.
Really?
So,
where? Give me the deets. Where?
Oh, she went to Hampton University and played softball there.
Okay.
So we would long toss a lot. We hit a lot. We make fun of each other and our swings a lot. So she was actually just another basically teammate in my little squad that we would always train and get each other better.
Boy, incredible stuff. Miles Blackwell, Los Angeles, California. Travel team SGV Arsenal and PFA. You talked about it. You really made a decision as you got a little bit older to jump into the travel space. It's a huge sacrifice for your parents. You know that. So for you, tell me about the travel experience for you and some of the benefits maybe that worked out for you joining some travel teams, playing in some events.
I would say travel baseball was a very great experience, like especially living in SoCal, because I talked to some East Coast kids and they're like, what, you play year round? And I'm like, yeah, we play year round all the time. So I would say playing and then growing closer to teammates is a really cool experience. And like, I also hang out with teammates outside of school, obviously not as much now, but travel ball teammates I hang out with and we become friends. And it's really a cool experience. We train each other. We get better, we laugh, we travel to Cooperstown, I guess, when I was younger, and then Arizona, and then Florida. It's really cool.
Hey, listen, thanks for your time and inviting us into your home virtually and allowing us to know about your family and most importantly, helping us understand those who didn't know about the Dream Series, what it is and the impact that it made on and has made on people like you. Have a great season. This is it. This is your senior year. We hope you're able to get out there, and best of luck at Columbia as well.
Thank you so much.
The talented catcher, the Columbia destined Miles Blackwell. Glad to have you with us. This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. Welcome to the future. Welcome to PG Tech. When the best and most impactful in an industry join forces, you, the athlete, win. This is PG Tech, a partnership driven by Perfect Game and K-Motion, an innovator in human motion learning, along with several best-in-class companies elevating technology and athlete development. It's a combination of state-of-the-art technologies, 3D body measurement, high-speed cameras, launch monitors, radar, bat sensors in the PG Tech cloud, guiding players, coaches, scouts, and recruiters in making their best decisions. PG Tech will help athletes and instructors achieve their goals by understanding the cause and effect of a player's movement to improve the development of that player. In other words, this is the best answer. Welcome to the future. Welcome to PG Tech. And we shift gears on MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game for the final interview of this hour. We go from the Dream Series, and we love stopping there, to Perfect Game's World Showcase, where players from around the country hit that January event hard like Jackson Nicklaus did. He's from Kansas, Blue Valley High School. He's an Oklahoma commit. We love Skip Johnson. We have him on our content all the time. He loves the Royals, Frankie Lindor, who is now a Met, and excited to get to know Jackson Nicklaus out of KC, Blue Valley High School, and learn a little bit about his experience. He spends time with us now. Jackson, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for spending time on MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. I'll start with 2020, and then I want to ask you about the World Showcase. Our world was challenged. We all had to do things differently than we ever did. For you, how did you take the challenges of 2020 and make yourself better as an athlete? In other words, what was your silver lining in the middle of a pandemic as a baseball player?
I decided to take it as an opportunity to get better. Everybody had challenges, and I decided to use it as an opportunity to get better. So I changed the way I worked. I would change the way I thought of things, and I feel like it benefited me in the long run.
All right, let's break that open then. I mean, let's talk first about your workouts. How did you change? What did you change?
So we would always have like team stuff, and with the pandemic going on, all of the facilities and stuff that I normally would work out at are closed. So we had to get creative, and I found myself finding park fields like to take ground balls on, and one of my neighbors ended up having a cage. I used to drive by it all the time, and I had to ask him if I could, like I knocked on his door and I had to ask him if I could take BP, and my dad would throw me batting practice in there every day, because typically I would go to my academy and I would hit with teammates and stuff like that. But we had to go find places to get work in, and we would schedule live at bats on high school JV fields. We did anything we could to try and get some reps. And so that way, when we got the all clear to play, we were ready.
Boy, that's an incredible answer. Great conversation with Jackson Nicklaus out of the Kansas City area, Blue Valley High School. This is a Talent 21 grad, and he's one of the top players in Kansas in that class of 21. How did your mind change about baseball? How did you start viewing things differently? And were you able to evolve? You had to be a little bit more quiet. You weren't playing in games every weekend. What did your mind learn about baseball and about yourself?
In a broad sense, it taught me that the game can be taken away at any moment. I just recently moved up to Kansas City from Wichita. It's about 3 hours south from where I'm currently living. And I was super excited to play with this new program because we have a bunch of talent, and it would have been a lot of fun, and hopefully would have made a state run. And we got about 4 practices in, and then they told us that our season was over. And that was kind of a gut punch. So that's probably the best thing or not the best thing, but it was probably the biggest lesson that this has taught me, is that to cherish every single game or every single rep, because it could just be taken away. And what was the part 2 to that question?
Yeah, well, I think that's a great answer, because your answer, I wanted to ask you about life, but that affects life too, right? I mean, you don't take things for granted, period. It's one thing. You realize baseball can be taken away. And I'm guessing about how you view yourself that you, again, in life probably took less for granted, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Great conversation with Jackson Nicklaus, enjoying getting to know who he is as an athlete. Glad to have you with us, whether you're watching on Perfect Game TV or listening on MLB Network Radio. So the World Showcase, let's go there right now, and then I want to dive into a little bit more who you are as an athlete. You did good things, and really one reason I reached out to you, I don't want to bore you with the metrics, but the Diamond Kinetics metrics for you at the World Showcase were like top 98%, 99% as it pertains to max barrel speed, impact momentum, max acceleration, all those advanced metrics we talk about. For you, how did you feel like your performance went? Because according to the advanced metrics, you were one of the top guys with a bat.
I definitely felt like I swung it well in the showcase. We were actually crunched for time, and we had to get into, because we had a game later that afternoon. So it was a lot of the kids on my team didn't end up doing it. So I'm glad I stuck around and got that taken care of. But no, I've been working a lot on power and flexibility and mobility, so that way I can create those higher barrel speeds. And I've been using tools such as Diamond Kinetics and Blast Motion to figure out how I can improve my baseball statistics and all the other stuff, along with just timing and all that, everything else that has to do with hitting.
It's a brave new world, isn't it, Jackson? It's kind of crazy what you're talking about. I mean, I'm older, and your parents are older, but how do you balance that? How do you balance just the feel for the game, right? Just the guy that's out in the park hitting and playing catch with his buddies, and the tech, because it's important. I mean, it's a way to study yourself, learn yourself. But how do you balance not getting lost in either world?
Me personally, I hit with an instructor twice a week, and I do Blast Motion and Diamond Kinetics every once in a while heavily in those. And then there's some days that I just like to feel it out and let the barrel tell me what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong. Because you swing the bat enough times, you know when you hit it well and what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. So it's a great question about how to balance it out. I mean, everyone's different, but personally, it's like small daily doses. I want to use the information that the technology gives me, but I don't want to just only care about my barrel speed, because barrel speed doesn't always mean you're going to get a hit, you know?
Yeah, you still have to hit it. You're exactly right. You still have to hit it. That's a great answer. This is Jackson Nicklaus. It's interesting. It's almost like the ACT. You should ACT prep or SAT prep, but it's not going to make you technically that much smarter. All the work you've done to that point, then you have to learn a little bit of prep. It's very much the same. For you, you also got a chance to go play in the Jupiter event in Fort Myers, and gosh, that's just a crushing event as it pertains to dealing with velocity. For me, it's one of the best amateur sporting events I've ever seen for baseball, for young guys. What was your experience like at the World Wood Bat Association World Championship? I think you played for the Royal Scout team.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to get an invitation to play with the Royal Scout team, and we had a great group of young men. Sometimes the games were awesome. The experience, the environment, the atmosphere, it was second to none. I mean, it was amazing. It was like a who's who of amateur baseball. I mean, it was insane. We kind of fell up short in some games. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, the pitching is so loaded. It's all the games we played were 2-1, 4-3. I mean, it was a great experience, and it was the thing I'm happiest about being involved in. I could use that as a benchmark to compare myself to the other great players, and that's what I like to do, is compete and see what I have to do to match my competition. So that's probably the best part of that event, is you got to see all the best players in the same place.
Excellent answer. Again, you know where you're going to learn more about your game? You know where you're going to learn more? Do you?
Watching other players play.
Yeah, also the Big 12. My gosh,
oh,
dude,
yeah.
The Big 12. Are you kidding me? What drew you in to commit to Skip? What made Oklahoma the program for you, the Big 12 the conference for you? It's awesome. What a great conference. We had Skip on our radio show, the college radio show, like a week ago. Love every moment of it. And so I'd love to know for you, what drew you there? Aside from the obvious, what drew you to OU?
So the coach that was involved most in my recruiting was Clay Overcash. It almost was a no-brainer for me. He called me and he asked me if I wanted to compete every day and play with the best competition in the country. And this is a little background on me. I have been playing baseball up in Kansas City since I was 11 years old, because the competition from where I was from was not what the competition was in Kansas City. So I've always been a player that has strived to play with the best, so that way I can become better. I would much rather, because I believe that competition breeds success, and they just told me everything that I've always believed in, and they told me that I'm going to come in and I'm going to compete against 5, 6 of the best shortstops and middle infielders in the region, and ultimately my goal is to play professional baseball, and if I want to play professional baseball, I need to be able to compete at a level like Oklahoma, and they just kind of have that culture and that mindset of, I feel like I'm saying competition a lot, but that's just basically what they breed down there, and that's what I want. So that's why I'm going there.
Got it. And you probably felt at home. I mean, you that competition, you probably felt at home. That's another thing, because you eat, breathe, and sleep there, too. This is Jackson Nicklaus. As he mentioned, he's a very talented middle infielder, one of the better middle infielders as the rankings go, one of the top players in the state of Kansas. And as he said, he made the move to head to Kansas City and deal with that. Royals fan, by the way?
Big Royals fan.
Expound and tell us a little bit about why.
It's just local team. It was my dad's a Royals fan. Grandpa's a Royals fan. We would go, it's in driving distance. We would go to the games. Just kind of a hometown thing.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's fun. I mean, it's fun to have a hometown team. I'm sure you watch with what you hope to do. I'm sure you watch with an eye on learning all the time. So not only do you get to be fan guy, but you get to be student watching major leaguers play. Great conversation with Jackson Nicklaus, learning about who he is. So let's talk about your swing, okay? Left-handed hitter, correct?
Correct.
All right, so what are some of the keys mechanically to your swing? What are the important parts? And me, you're talking to an old minor league player myself, a pitcher, but you can be detailed. You won't lose me, I promise. What are some of the keys to your swing? If I'm looking at that side swing from helmet all the way down to your shoelaces, the parts in between, what are the keys to your swing?
The biggest thing that I'm thinking about is I want to let the ball travel and hit it right in front of my kneecap. I want to hit it in a powerful position. I don't want to find myself reaching for the ball. So that's just the main point. I want to think about the biggest thing I actually think about is keeping my back foot on the ground for as long as possible, because I used to have a tendency to be an anxious hitter and try and go get the ball. And with the increasing velocity and the better breaking stuff, I had to learn to sit on my back foot a little bit better and let the ball come to me. I've really been focusing on my barrel awareness and becoming more of a competitive two-strike hitter. No one likes striking out, and that's been one of the main focal points of my swing, is being able to make consistent barrel contact and being able to get good timing. I mean, there's four main things in hitting: your mechanics, your timing, your approach, and I shouldn't have said four things because I can only think of three of them. But,
I got one I want to add. I want to add it because it was what I wanted to ask you about. The one thing I never understood, how you good hitters, and you're one of them as a pitcher, how you guys evolved in pitch recognition, because we're always trying to make you uncomfortable. We're always trying to throw something that you can't see, if you follow me there. So how have you evolved in the last, 2-3 years as it pertains to specifically pitch recognition?
One of the biggest things, because when we hit nowadays, we do a lot of velocity training with hack attacks machines. We do a lot of machine work so we can simulate that high velocity. But with my instructor, we've really been focused on short toss overhand. So that way I'm getting a quick read and having to make a quick 0.4 second decision on if I'm going to swing or not, because it's not like you get a lot of time to decide if you want to hit. I mean, if you look at the mathematics on like the time it takes for a 90-mile-per-hour fastball to reach the plate, it's 0.4 seconds, which is the blink of an eye. So you have to decide quickly. So if you can simulate that by having a coach stand closer and challenge you with high velocity, I feel like that's really helped me train in my pitch recognition, especially with the fastball. And then breaking ball stuff, this has been the most recent development in my game. I have been able to simulate breaking balls with machine, and we are able to move the machine around on a stand and simulate whether it's a ball or strike. And we've been doing that to simulate pitch recognition because my coach is involved with the Royals, and he gives us some of the drills that they use. And this is one, according to him, that is what Jorge Soler would do to recognize to help with his pitch recognition. And that's what helped him go from hitting not very many to 40 home runs in the season.
What a great answer, man. What a great answer. Jackson, have a great 2021. I hope you're out there a bunch. I hope we're all able to get out and be a part of baseball. Certainly enjoy your journey, and it's going to be fun. Enjoy Oklahoma and what you have coming ahead of you. Thanks for introducing us to yourself and your game. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
That wraps the first hour of MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. Great guest. When we come back, we'll continue to talk about the World Showcase in hour number 2. This is MLB Roundtrip, the only show devoted to amateur baseball.
Defense, you can always make a play. Create it in your mind. You're always trying to time when the ball is hitting the bat. Wherever I am, I know where it is. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna have to start jumping. Nothing more satisfying than making that big play.
MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. The conversation continues with an eye on the World Showcase, and our next guest is a Duke commit, and he did well. He did very well in Fort Myers. His name is Jonathan Santucci. His high school, Phillips Academy, Andover. He's a 2021. As we mentioned, Leominster, Massachusetts. He's had to deal with weather and challenges in the Northeast. He loves the Sox. We'll get into that. He loves Mike Trout. And the Duke part I want to talk about as well as we spend time now with the talented Jonathan Santucci. As a matter of fact, one of the top outfielders in the country when you look at the rankings, a top 50 player overall. Jonathan, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you joining us on MLB Network Radio and on Perfect Game TV. I'll take it right here, right there. You chose to go to the World Showcase here very recently. You went down to Fort Myers. It's a historic event at a beautiful older ballpark. How did it go for you? First, why did you take it on? And second part, how did it go for you?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. So the World Showcase is something that I've had on my mind to go to, especially because I haven't been able to do much the last 4 or 5 months in Massachusetts because everything's been not going so well. So I wanted to have a chance to go back outside, especially in Florida, because there's going to be nice weather. And it's just been, I've heard how great of an event it has been over the past years. And I just wanted to be able to go outside and show everybody all the hard work I've done over this past off season. It was just great overall.
So tell me a little bit about your workouts when it got cold there, and obviously restrictions that we all have locally. What kind of workouts have you been able to do? Have you ever thought you'd be so creative? What have your workouts look like maybe starting in October, November, something like that?
So after I went to the WWBA in Fort Myers in October, and then after that, I've been able to do a lot of one-on-one stuff with one of my trainers at home in Leominster. So I've been able to go to him 4 to 5 days a week and just keep getting bigger, stronger, faster, quicker every single day and working on that. And also being able to go to a local batting facility that my dad owns. So I've been fortunate enough since through quarantine to be able to go there every day, hit, throw, and just keep getting better.
Interesting conversation with Jonathan Santucci. It's Leominster, huh?
Excuse me?
It's Leominster, Massachusetts?
Leominster, yeah.
Leominster. How many people say it wrong like I did? Lots of them?
Yeah, if you're not from Massachusetts, it's even people from Massachusetts mess it up all the time. They always say Leominster.
Yeah, Leominster.
Yeah.
So it's Leominster.
Leominster, yeah.
All right, I'm ready. Now I can move on. I was feeling bad. About myself. Hey, you do have a facility where you go hit, and it's thanks to your father, and that's one of the family businesses, your dad, Stephen. What has he shared with you about his professional career? He got in a lot more than I did. I played very briefly in the minor leagues. When you play for quite a while, it looks like he was out of Assumption College, and you play more than 400 games in the minor leagues. He did some learning. What has he passed along to you?
Yeah, he's definitely taught me everything I know about baseball. Growing up, he's told me all the stories of how great of a time minor league baseball was, and everything that he learned through spring training and all the 4 or 5 years of minor league baseball he's taught to me, and that's just overall helped me keep getting better and better as a player every year. And he just knows how to get me to the next step every single time we step in the cage on a field. And he's just taught me everything I know about baseball and how to carry myself as a player, and as well as how to deal with adversity and the struggle that comes along with baseball as well.
So, Jonathan, if I was 11 and I was pretty good and I loved the game, and I see you're a prospect, and I asked you, hey, you said there's a way to carry myself as a player, Jonathan. What is that way? What would you tell this younger player?
Yeah, if I were to look back at myself when I was 11, or someone that looks up to older kids, I would definitely say just keep on working as hard as you can every day, and just keep getting better and better and working on your craft. And just let your play speak for yourself. Just do what you can, control what you can control, and that's all you can do. And if you keep working hard, good things will happen.
It's interesting, too, the part of your journey has got to be academics a little bit, right, Jonathan? This is Jonathan Santucci. There may be no hotter program as far as recruits and finding guys to come be a part of the program than Duke, and they have earned your commitment. But you know this, Jonathan, as I do. You can't be a halfway student and go play for Scott Pollard. You just can't. So tell me about what pulled you to commit to Duke, what Scott does at the program that fits you, and why they earned your pen-to-paper commitment.
Yeah, so academics has always been a big priority for me throughout my life, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to go to my high school, Phillips Academy. It's considered one of the best academic schools, and I just love the challenge that comes along with academics on an everyday basis. And looking for colleges, I wanted a program or a school that had really high academic standards, and a place that if baseball never worked out, I could fall behind or fall back on a degree from that school. And Duke just fits everything that I was looking for on a baseball level, academic, and just overall the way that the Duke, the campus is, and like how everything is run there. It just keeps getting better and better. And the baseball program keeps taking big strides every year, and getting one step closer to Omaha every year as well. So everything just worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it's a good program. It's a really good program. I'm telling you, they've got a lot of momentum right now. They're fortunate to have you, though. Jonathan Santucci is joining us, the Duke commit, the gifted outfielder. I want to do this. I want to take your self-scouting report. We showed it on the graphics, and I'll read little vignettes from what you shared with me, but then I want you to take it further, okay? I mean, this was shared with me, and so I want to, just read you a vignette, but then you take it further. You write, as an outfielder, I feel like my strength is the jumps that I get on the ball, allowing me to catch anything. Take it further.
Yeah, so throughout my life, I've always enjoyed playing outfield, and that's always been like my favorite position. And even though I may not be the fastest kid on the field at all times, the jumps I feel like in the angles I get to every ball is something I take pride in and something I've worked on throughout my life. And it just really seems to have helped me get to the point where I am today, and just keep getting better at that, and just keep building as an outfielder, and that just helps make me a better player overall as well.
As a hitter, I'm able to hit the ball to all fields and have begun to hit the ball with more authority and power to all fields. Go.
Yeah, so my entire life, I've always, from approach as a hitter, I've always tried to hit the ball the other way, especially from a young age, just like in Little League and things like that, and just hit the ball as hard as I can or as far as I can to the left center gap. And that's just really helped me as for an approach growing up, and just keep hitting the ball hard consistently. And I feel like that has helped translate to facing better competition, especially the last couple of years at a lot of these big events. So that's really keeping to that approach throughout my life, and getting up to this point has really helped me to have success up until this point. And then just continue getting stronger and stronger every year. That's really helped me get into the power that I have. And I've always looked at power as something that comes as a mistake. Like home runs, I think of are mistakes, and I just keep to that approach. And if they happen, they happen. So that's seemed to have helped me a lot.
He's a left-handed thrower. He's a left-handed hitter. His name is Jonathan Santucci. And he writes, as a pitcher, I've learned to throw 3 different pitches: fastball, slider, changeup. I've learned when to throw each pitch throughout an at-bat.
Yeah, so pitching has always been something that I've enjoyed doing, but haven't worked on it as much as outfield. So over the past couple of years, I've started to learn more and more about pitching. At a young age, I always just threw fastballs, like in Little League, just because I didn't really need to throw anything else. But as I gotten older and have faced better competition at the plate as well, I've learned how to throw a curveball slash slider. It's like a in between. So, and then I keep on working on a changeup. But I've always felt like I've had some good, been able to locate my pitches very well in any count. So that's something I take pride in on a pitching standpoint. And I just have trust in a lot of the catches I've had so far throughout my career to help me decide which pitch to throw in which count. And the more knowledge I get from those and all my experiences, that's helped me develop as a pitcher as well.
So obviously one of the reasons I reached out to you is you're good, but you were an outlier at the World Showcase. You threw 96 from the outfield, so I'll read this last bit of information. One of my biggest strengths is my arm, either on the mound or from the outfield. This is one of my biggest tools that allows me to throw with ease and accuracy, especially now that I'm throwing into the mid-90s. I'll ask you a specific question about this one instead of allowing you to take it or asking you to take it further. Specific question is, how does one strengthen their arm? God gave you a good arm, right? We know that because you don't go to 96 in a drill, with the skill set to throw 74, by working out. But how have you evolved your arm strength? What kind of things have you done over the last couple of years to know that, okay, I was gifted with a strong arm, but I'm going to make it this much stronger? What have you done?
Yeah, so my arm strength didn't really take off until the last couple of years. And I feel like a big part of that was just growing into my body a lot more. I had a big growth spurt when I was 13 or 14, and just I kept getting stronger and stronger over like one off season. I somehow gained I believe 13 or 14 miles an hour in just one season. So I credit that a lot to getting stronger every day. Long tossing helped a lot. I have a throwing program from my high school coach that he gave us every fall and winter, and that really helped to develop arm strength and just keep getting better every day on that side of the ball as well. Doing my J bands as much as I can to make sure my arm stays healthy, and just doing the little things that just make you better overall. So, and a lot of it just came natural in just growing up and maturing every year. That helped a lot as well.
That's cool. I mean, good scouting report. Did you do pretty well in scouting yourself? Do you feel like you were accurate?
Yeah, that's what I would consider myself. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. That's nice. I mean, we all should do that in life sometimes. Give ourselves a scouting report on how we're doing in life. So I'm coming over. I've invited myself over. I'm coming to the Santucci house. Your mom, Stephanie, who I want to talk about it a little bit. Your dad, Steven. And Gabby, your younger sister, is there. And Bella, your younger sister, is there. So that's 4 or 5. That makes 6 that I'm visiting. What are we having for dinner at the Santucci house, and what are we talking about? What's the conversation about around the dinner table? What are we eating, and what are we talking about?
Ooh, let's see. For dinner, I would say we love having one of the favorites among all of us, especially my sisters and I, are tacos. We love making our own tacos and things like that. But we try to vary it up all the time and try new things. But every day around the dinner table, we just talk about each other's days, especially because it's been nice that we've all been home for such a long time. It really helped make more relationships and better relationships, especially with my sisters, because I've been away at school for the last few years. So it's nice to be able to communicate and interact with them more on a daily basis. So talking about how school's going every day, how sports are going, because my sisters are very active as well, and just helping each other in any way possible. So that's how our dinner table usually works. Yeah.
Good answer. Introduce me to your mom, Stephanie, quickly. Tell me a little bit about the impact she's had on you and your life, maybe as an athlete, but more importantly, as a young man.
Yeah, my mom has always had a tremendous impact on me in all aspects of life. She's taught me how to be the person that I want to be, and someone that is respected in their community, and how to treat everybody with respect and kindness, because that's all you can ask for. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And she just taught me everything about how to value, what to value in life, and priorities, academics, because she's always told me and my sisters how much academics can carry you into life outside of anything. And just being person that you strive to be, and don't be afraid to strive for your goals and just work every day to get to try your best to get to those goals. And that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. So she just taught me how to be the person I am today. So I can't thank her enough.
Santucci, are you 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'2" now, yeah.
Yeah, a tall guy, a tall outfielder. My goodness. No wonder you got some leverage on the mound and a big arm. Before I let you go, have you had any, because you're in the draft talk, certainly, have you had any Zoom calls with organizations? Don't tell me who. I don't care who. But if you have, what have they been like?
Yeah, so far, I believe I've had like 8 or 9 Zoom calls so far, but I've also been in contact with a lot of other teams as well. But a lot of them are overall, they're pretty alike. They just try to get to know you as much as you can, as they can, ask you questions about anything you can pretty much think of. Some question that can throw you off guard at times, especially in some questionnaires I've had to do, but they just try to get to know you as much as they can, your family, how you go about your business and baseball, how you think at the plate, on the mound, in the field, just everything about that. So they just try to get to know you as much as they can, because at the end of the day, they need to make a decision and need to know the type of kid you are.
It's like a super deep job interview virtually, right? I mean, it's learning all. They're looking at your social. If you do have social, they're checking out anything that they've already done that. So it's interesting. Have you liked the experience?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something that I've never experienced before. So it's just been, at first it was a little nerve-wracking just because you didn't know what to expect and the types of things they were going to ask. But the more you do and the more you interact with scouts and teams, the more you become comfortable, and the more you know how to answer certain questions and go about these Zoom meetings and things like that. So over the last couple months, it's become a lot easier for me, and I've started to enjoy it a lot more and enjoy the process.
Dude, it's a good, sorry to interrupt you. It's a good problem to have, right? I mean, there are folks not getting calls. There are folks not being asked to do that. They may grow their careers, but you already right there on PG's Draft 300. Congratulations on what you've accomplished. Thanks for letting me come to dinner with your family, getting to know who you guys are. Thanks for taking the time to be on our show. Have a great 2021. You did a lot in 2020 when no one was supposed to do anything, so make it a great year.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Duke commit Jonathan Santucci. What a bright future he has. Massachusetts should be proud of him. By the way, Leominster, Massachusetts, not Leominster, Leominster, Massachusetts. Glad to have you with us. This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game.
You can tell right away if it's going to be a good glove or not. Broken and good, so when it breaks in nice, you want to use it for years. And I got the gold on it now. If you're into it mentally, you're getting your pre-pitch routine, the defense doesn't slump. It doesn't come and go like offense. If you lock it in mentally, it's going to be there.
So we want to thank all of our guests that joined us on this week's edition. They have bright futures. Listen, I want to take a moment when I wrap this show, not only to thank the guests, but to thank the guests for the last 3 or 4 years. Because you know what? The guests on this show over the last 3 or 4 years, when my father passed away this past week, a lot of you reached out to me. My dad, Don Sutton, a Hall of Famer, lost his battle to cancer, and he went, I think, the way a lot of us would like to go, in his sleep, a peaceful look on his face and a peaceful sleep. And then the outpourings came. When you're in the Hall of Fame, there are a lot of people who know who you are. You're a public figure, and they found me, and they shared with me their grief. They shared with me their condolences. I appreciate that very much, but I appreciate you. Amateur baseball reached out to me in droves. All you young athletes, that's a credit to your families. Thank you for your hugs virtually. Thank you for your kind words. The future of the game is in very good hands. And thank you for your love. My name is Darren Sutton. Each and every week we're here. This is MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game.
We're rolling. We are. Test 1, 2, 3.
One of the ageless wonders, one of the grand masters of the game goes to the man of the night, Don Sutton.
Mention the name Don Sutton and a number of things come to mind. The model of consistency and durability. The image of a fist pump on his 300th win.
He went around and it's over.
There was an electricity in the air that I could feel.
The man who had his jersey number 20 retired by the Dodgers after 16 years in the organization. The man who's a Braves Hall of Famer based on his decades of work as an Atlanta broadcaster. Or maybe what first comes to mind is the performance for the Brewers in Game 3 of the 1982 ALCS, staving off elimination and beginning Milwaukee's comeback from down 0-2 in a best-of-5. Maybe it's his 1986 ALCS Game 4 start for the Angels against the Red Sox when the 41-year-old Sutton allowed just 1 run over 6 1/3 against Roger Clemens. In a memorable game, the Angels would win in 11 innings and take an improbable 3-1 series lead.
And there's Bedlam in Anaheim.
Or perhaps it was the 3 shutout innings in starting the 1977 All-Star Game at Yankee Stadium and winning game MVP honors.
Most Valuable Player Award goes to winning pitcher Don Sutton.
No matter what specific memory comes to mind, one thing is certain. There were plenty to choose from. Don Sutton's career as a player, then broadcaster, spanned over half a century. Sutton made his Major League debut as a player in April of 1966, less than 2 weeks after his 21st birthday, when he joined a 4-man pitching rotation that included Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale.
Koufax and Drysdale played a big part in my becoming a major leaguer.
The young rookie more than held his own, going 12-12 with a 2.99 ERA in 225 innings during that 1966 pennant-winning season. It would be the start of a 23-year career in the big leagues for Sutton, and throughout it all, his consistency was remarkable.
I would rather be counted on as dependable and consistent than spectacular and flamboyant. Knowing that I was ready to go when I was called on is very important to me.
He won at least 11 games in 21 different seasons. He would win 324 over his career and strike out 3,574 batters, 4th all-time at the time of his retirement. Sutton started an incredible 756 games, a figure topped only by Cy Young and Nolan Ryan.
Strikeout for Sutton. Good pitch.
After 5 years on the ballot, Don Sutton took his rightful place among the all-time greats when he was inducted into Cooperstown.
I've had a dream come true that's a validation that what my dad taught me a long time ago is true. You can have a dream, and if you're willing to work for it, it can come true.
MLB Roundtrip with Perfect Game. We continue on. Excited to have this conversation with Zaylen Perry because Zaylen made the choice to go to World Showcase. There was a lot of prep that went into it, and he got himself ready.